Hey everyone, RogueGold here, welcome back to the Division 2, and today we are fully diving into the new Rogue Momentum seasonal modifier that has just been released with the game's newest season, Year 6 Season 3. This is the second go around of modifiers in the game. Last season saw their introduction with the release of Seasons 2.0, and the response to them was mixed at best. The potential was there, and I personally had a good amount of fun with them, but between some design decisions and just how they were laid out, there was definitely some room for improvement. Well, that brings us to now. We've got our new modifiers, they've undergone a good amount of changes structurally compared to last season, and so far I've seen a solid number of y'all who've said that you're much more on board with trying these out this season compared to last. That said, all of this does not mean that there isn't still a learning curve to figuring out how these modifiers work and what their complexities are. Case in point, I've already got many questions asking, hey, what's up with this red bar that's filling up next to my HUD? So, in this video, I aim to fully break down and answer all of your questions surrounding the Rogue Momentum modifier, and get you back out zooming through the streets of DC as quickly as I can. So, without further ado, let's dive into this. Alright, so to begin with the basics in case you have forgotten or maybe you didn't play last season, everything involving modifiers is going to be found right here within your inventory. You want to go up through this node right here between your specialization and your shade watch. Clicking on this will take you to the modifier menu. Here you can read the description for the global modifier, insert and slot in your active and passive mods, and view the hostile modifier as well. So anything you need to refer back to or look at for modifiers is going to be found within this menu. Additionally, if you do not want to engage with the modifier system, this is where you could activate and deactivate it. You can see right at the bottom, I just click that button, the whole thing goes away, or I can turn it back on. This season, you do get a 10% season pass XP bonus if you play with modifiers enabled, so keep that in mind if that's a potential incentive for you. And then the only other thing to cover is that to unlock stuff like active modifiers and passive ones, because when you start the season, you won't have any of these unlocked. All of those are rewarded from the seasonal journey. If I go to my season menu here and journey, you'll see that starting at tier 3, you start to unlock some of those passive ones. 4, 5, and 6 give you the active ones along with some additional passives. So yeah, progressing through your seasonal journey is how you're going to unlock all of those things. Alright, so let us begin by breaking down the global modifier, which as always is the cornerstone for this system. This is what influences and dictates the rule sets for everything else within the modifier system. This time around it is called Rogue Momentum, and let's break this down one by one. So it says build momentum by eliminating enemies, kills, multi-kills, headshots, skill kills, tactical kills. Higher tiers grant escalating bonuses, but momentum decays over time. The decay is temporarily slowed when you sprint or use pulse. So if we step into the shooting range here, we can take a look at exactly how that works. You will see on the left side of my HUD, right next to my ammo counter, there's a new little vertical bar there. This is what's known as your momentum gauge, and if I kill an enemy, just like it said, then you'll see I got a little bit of red stuff in there, and that is momentum beginning to fill up. Now, all you really need to know is that killing different veterancy enemies and killing them in different ways will get you varying amounts of momentum, just like it says here in the description, right? It says that kills, multi-kills, headshots, skill kills, and tactical kills all contribute to building momentum. So for example, again, if I shoot a regular red ad in the body and kill them that way, I got a little bit of momentum there. But if I get a headshot kill on an elite, watch how much I get in the bar, it's way more. This also applies to skills, like it said in that description. I'm not going to use this because my build doesn't have enough explosive damage, but if you get skill kills, that counts. If you get explosive skill kills, like with the explosive seeker mine here or a mortar turret, that's really useful this season. So that's the overall concept that we're looking at here, is that momentum builds based off of different types of kills. The only other thing to be aware of, as it said in that description, is that momentum is not permanent. It will decay over time. The two ways to slow down that decay is by either sprinting or using pulse. So if I kill a few of these enemies, we will let the bar fill up a little bit more. And then if I just stand here, pretty soon you're going to see that bar starting to go down. Obviously, it takes a second before it does, but you can see now that it is slowly ticking away, and if I just leave it, it's going to go all the way to 0. One way to stop that, if you watch it's going down right now, but I click my pulse, that's going to pause the decay momentarily, and then additionally, if I start sprinting around, that is also going to momentarily pause that decay. So that is the important mechanic there to be aware of, is momentum gaining and decay. Alright, so we know how to gain momentum, but what exactly does it do? Why should I care? Well, that is what they then go to break down in the bonuses. So there are 5 tiers of momentum, and those are broken down into calculated, swift, Ruthless, Savage, and Unstoppable, and you can see the different percentage breakdowns for how much of the momentum bar you need to be filled up to be in each tier. Something important to note is that these tiers do not stack on top of one another, right? Let's say you're in the Ruthless tier, where your bar is between 51 and 75% full. You are not getting Ruthless, Swift, and Calculated. You're just getting the Ruthless buff. But as you can see, progressing higher and higher in these tiers offers you some really powerful bonuses. All the way at the top at Unstoppable, I get 20% weapon and skill damage, 20% movement speed, 20% reload speed, 25% rate of fire, and permanent skill overcharge. So if we go back one more time here, you can also see in the UI that as you go up in tiers, it will let you know those little red flashes happen. There's also an audio indicator every time you go up in a tier. Let's see if we can just get a bunch of these guys for me to mow down really quickly. I might skip ahead, but you'll see that we're starting to build up more and more. The red's showing up. All right, so my rate of fire is now starting to increase, that I'm getting higher up in those tiers. And as we get to the next tier, it'll briefly tell you the name of what bonus you have active right next to the bar. We'll see if we get that after this kill. Watch down at the bar. See, it says Unstoppable. I'm now at the highest tier. I have the little red ring on the outer side of my screen. I'm zipping around because I have that 20% movement speed. You can see I have the overcharge symbol on my skills. So that is how that works. The final component of this to be aware of is what it says at the bottom of the Rogue Momentum description, and that is about blacklisted enemies. It reads, random enemies marked during combat provide bonus momentum and 10% weapon handling and crit chance when killed. Taking damage from blacklisted enemies drains momentum up to 15 times faster for 5 seconds. So essentially, blacklisted enemies are high-risk, high-reward targets. If you're able to take them down, you will get even more momentum for killing them, but if they damage you, the opportunity opens up for you to lose a bunch of momentum, more so than you would have just by playing. How do you identify a blacklisted target? Well, if we come out here, you will see this little icon above this enemy. It's actually kind of hard to see there, but the little symbol there with the, person with the line through them, that is a blacklisted target. There's one right there. You can see that enemy there has it as well, and you will see that exact same symbol throughout the game in the open world as you play. That is a blacklisted target. If you kill them, like I take this one out right here, you can see the momentum bar will fill up by a good bit, but if they shoot you, again, you have the potential to lose a lot of momentum. Alright, next up, let's talk about your active modifiers. Just like last season, active mods are the manually toggled abilities that you get to pop in combat. There are 3 of them. This season we have Overdrive, Tactical Supremacy, and Vendetta. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. Again, you can read that they have pretty lengthy descriptions, but as an example, let's use Overdrive here that I have unlocked. Upon activation, it says that I instantly max out my Rogue Momentum bar and receive powerful combat bonuses. After Overdrive ends, your momentum game is temporarily reduced. Those bonuses that I get for 10 seconds include 30% weapon damage, 30% skill damage, 30% rate of fire, and unlimited ammo supply. However, once Overdrive ends, my momentum gains are reduced by 70% for 150 seconds, and the cooldown of this overall ability is 150 seconds. So if we go back into the range, you will see that next to the bar, I have the ability to activate it there. Now, an important difference from last season is that you used to have to aim down sights to see your active mod, cooldown and the ability to pop it all together. Now you can do it from right here. So I'm just going to hit up on the D-pad. You can see my bar just filled up. I have that unlimited ammo symbol next to my thing because that's part of the bonus. And I just have that thing. You can see on my HUD as well, I have the kind of light red kangaroo symbol. That's for Overdrive, and it's now over because it's that quick little 10-second window. The cooldown is going to happen on your HUD as well. You'll see that it is now slowly filling up from left to right with that light red shade. That means that it is on cooldown. Once that is fully complete, then the button will become activatable again, and the cooldown is over. So just like last season, the active modifiers really play into how you use your modifiers overall. There's a lot you can do to manipulate the overall system and the global modifier, but it's all down to you to read these, understand them, kind of mix and match with the passive mods and make your own playstyle out of it. There's a lot of customization and potential with these. We then come to passive modifiers. These are the more minor passive abilities that you get to slot in that, again, augment and tweak your experience with the modifiers depending on what your build is, what your playstyle, how you want to play with them. It is entirely down to you. So for example, on this first one, I have critical momentum slotted in, and that means that critical hits have a 40% chance to grant 1% momentum. Ever since putting this on, I've had a way easier time building up the momentum bar because I don't actually even need to get kills for that to start happening. If I set this to one of those invulnerable enemies, you will see that I don't actually need to kill it to build up that momentum, because every time I hit a crit, there's a 40% chance that that is going to build up, and you can see my bar is slowly filling. And so just like last season, there are a bunch of different passive modifiers, and you are just going to have to figure out which ones you like, which ones work with the build you're going for. What's pretty nice this season is that there are a bunch of skill-focused ones, like Aggressive Drone here increases your striker drone's damage, but also reduces its duration. You have stuff like Fortified Shield, which gives you a bunch of extra health for your shield. I know one that many people are excited for, and I can't wait to unlock it myself, is Microwave Coils. This makes it so that up to 4 enemies affected by your pulse now receive the burn status effect. So yeah, point is, passive modifiers again allow you to customize your modifier experience by a lot, and you can slot in up to 3 of those right down here. Alright, now the final component to this that we need to break down are hostile modifiers. Because yes, while we have all of these different abilities and modifiers that we can give to ourselves, some of the enemies are going to have some special capabilities too. So if you go back into your modifier menu one last time, you will see that if you click on control, if you click the right stick, that will swap your view to the hostile modifiers. You can see right here that is Frenzy this season. It reads, enemies grow more aggressive and resilient, matching your rising momentum. Frenzied enemies boast increased rate of fire, movement speed, and rapid armor health regeneration. Higher season progression increases the number of frenzied enemies and the potency of their buffs. So you can see the breakdown right there. At Journey Chapter 3, they will have 20% increased rate of fire, 20% increased movement speed, and 5% per second armor and health regen. Once you get to Chapter 4, it's then 20, 20, and 7%, and at Chapter 5 and onwards, it is 30, 30, and 10%. And then at the bottom it says, the more you grow in power, the more ruthless your enemies become. Stay sharp. So what exactly it is referring to, in case you are confused, is it's talking about the different journey tiers, because again, that is how you unlock your modifiers and grow more powerful within that system. So for example, I have up to Journey 4 complete, but I don't have 5 yet. That means that in my own progression for Frenzy, that I'm getting the middle bonus there. Any enemies that I encounter right now that have the Frenzy modifier have the 20% rate of fire, 20% movement speed, and 7% regen. Once I complete Chapter 5 and move onwards, then enemies that I encounter that have Frenzy will have the more potent version of the talent. As far as how this works within group content, I believe the game bases it off of the group leader, right, since they have control of whether or not modifiers are enabled altogether. Whatever journey tier your group leader is on, I believe that is what the game is calculating for what power these frenzied enemies have. So if we back out here to the game, I came right here because this is a pretty good demonstration of what these frenzied enemies look like. So that little red haze that you see, oh, they saw me, but the red haze that you see around them, that means that they have Frenzy. Unlike last season where they had the very distinct black and white icon above their heads, the only indicator you have for if an enemy has Frenzy is that red kind of pulsing thing around them. Coincidentally, these 3 enemies are also blacklisted enemies. Again, we went over that for the global modifier, but that is not the same as being frenzied. You can have a frenzied enemy who is not blacklisted, just like you can have a blacklisted enemy that is not frenzied. And just to give an example of how these things work, again, if I shoot this guy, you'll see that he has that regen. That's going over time, because for Chapter 4 that I'm on, they have 7% armor and health regen per second, and so, especially at higher tiers and in different types of content, these guys could definitely become a challenge, and that's something you're going to want to watch out for. But yeah, that should be just about everything you need to know about these frenzied enemies. And there you have it, my friends. That is your complete breakdown of the Rogue Momentum Seasonal Modifier. I sincerely hope you enjoyed the video, and more importantly, found it helpful and informative. I've certainly been having some great fun with these modifiers so far, but especially for those of you who were more skeptical and abrasive to modifiers last season, I would love to hear your thoughts and impressions on this season's offerings of them thus far. Additionally, if you have any questions or confusions that I did not address in the video, as always, please feel free to share those in the comments below, and I will do my best to get you those answers. If you did enjoy the video, however, and you want to see more breakdowns like this in the future, as well as all of my content on The Division 2, then I sincerely hope that you'll consider clicking that subscribe button if you've not already. We'd love to have you as part of our community. That's going to do it for me today, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Ow.